The mainstream media and the radical left is absolutely furious when they set forth their identity-based virtue people, you know who I'm talking about, to interview Trump in alignment with the inverted Marxist hierarchy of, oh my gosh, you're a white masculine billionaire, you must be the worst human possible. On top of that, of course, add the 8 years of slander and propaganda and anti-truth statements and demonizations coming from the left. And then you get this, where very psychopathically, from the start of the interview, they don't even say hi. They just say basically, why are you racist? And then when they get corrected, they call the correction oppression. This is where you really see the left's war with reality shine and come into focus.
You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys.
So they conduct completely unfair trials that are shams based on the idea that Trump is guilty of going against the radical left-wing agenda. And then when he criticizes those people, oh my gosh, oppression. It's the exact same architecture I described before. To the left, objective reality. Any ideas that they disagree with, and them being corrected using logic, reason, and rationality is oppression. Oh, he dares resist us? He dares call us names after we treat him unfairly and ruthlessly operate with no regard for truth or morality? That must be oppression.
You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are...
Notice the identitarian requirement there in the question. The journalist can't just be a journalist, they have to be a black journalist. This is why, of course, the left is the most racist group of people the world has ever seen. They were, of course, the party of Jim Crow and the party of slavery as well, so that shouldn't be a surprise.
Stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir...
Why is Trump even having a conversation with these destroyed psychopaths?
Now that you
The mainstream media obviously tried to get this gotcha moment where there's 3 black women. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have black woman power. We're gonna have a boss queen moment. Oh yeah, oh my god. Meanwhile, the alpha masculine billionaire just eviscerates them because he's more competent than they are, because he's an alpha masculine billionaire. But see, they don't want that to be the case because that's what they demonize. They don't want that to be what saves him. They don't want that to be the part that demonstrates clear competence over them, because that's the reason they demonize him. So there you see them demonizing reality because they demonize competence.
We're asking black supporters to vote for you.
How many times do they can say the word black in this question? It's so racist.
Why should black voters trust you?
What do you mean, why should they? They already do. After Trump was nearly assassinated, the support in African American male communities went up by a lot.
After you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. The first question. You don't even say, hello, how are you?
Bro, the alpha masculine billionaire is giving them lessons in etiquette. This is why they're infuriated, because they seem uncivilized, they seem rude, they seem incompetent, all of which they are, but that infuriates them. They want people to be like, oh my gosh, they want the vibe to be, oh my gosh, isn't he such a bad person? I can't believe he's so bad. He immediately flips it and says, you guys are uncivilized and rude, as well as intellectually dishonest and incompetent. And so what this does is it puts them on display, puts their ideology on display so that people can look at that, and outside the zeitgeist of Trump must only be bad, they can say, does this make sense? Or was this a corrupted question? And when they can do that, they can see the left for who they are, and that results in everyone realizing the left is a bunch of frauds. And nothing, and I talked about this many times, but nothing enrages the left like being seen as frauds, because there's no way to come back from being seen as a fraud. Especially when you deny the mechanisms like logic, reason, and rationality as oppression, because then they can't argue their way back. They can only say you're a bad person. So the left is constantly losing people from their party as more and more people start to wake up and ask even the most basic, simple, level 1 logic questions. Like, can a man really become a woman? Or is capitalism really bad? Or do we really need 20 million illegal immigrants across the border? The idea.
Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network.
And the crowd is with Trump too. Okay, yeah. So add salt to the injury as well.
I think it's
because it's not really about the arbitrary number of people in the crowd. It's about the fact that in the audio you can hear the natural human response to total corruption.
Disgraceful that I came here, and I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country.
But this didn't go the way they planned it. They planned it to be a gotcha moment of emotionality and boss queen energy. Look, we got 3 black women up here. Oh, we're going to say, why are you racist and a bad person? And then you have to answer that. But then the response was, I'm a competent alpha masculine billionaire who's going to hold you accountable and point out the fact that you're rude and uncivilized. And they're like, oh my God, oh fuck, oh, what do we do now? The script didn't work and the crowd is cheering him. Oh no. Another detail why I think this is extra bad for them is that because the crowd is cheering in the video for Trump, and that's in the footage that's circulating everywhere, and they can't hide that because it's literally taking place at the exact same time as what he's saying, it's getting harder and harder for them to dehumanize everybody, or at least the stakes, the cost of dehumanizing everybody is increasing, because they can tell that the crowd obviously is mostly black, and they're all supporting Trump. They're all cheering for Trump. So they have a choice to either contend with reality, which leads to the disintegration of their ideology and them losing support because their ideas are widely unpopular and aligned with the opposite to truth, or they demonize everybody and look like the psychopaths that they are, revealing themselves as frauds. So again, it's just so fantastic that this happened when they were planning this to be a gotcha moment, and instead it works in his favor, and it enrages them further because it's a testament to the fact that Trump is an exceptionally competent person. Because if you're not a competent person, you wouldn't be able to do this. You wouldn't be able to turn around an ambush and immediately just dominate them completely. And if you want to see how openly desperate the mainstream media is, look at their headlines. Offensive, ignorant, and graceless. This is a response to what Trump said. Oh my gosh, it was ignorant and graceless and offensive that he just corrected us and told us that we were being rude when we asked a question that was in total corruption and aligned with the inverted Marxist hierarchies of identitarianism and tyranny. But this is all that you would be able to see if Elon Musk didn't buy X. Elon Musk buying X was, I think, probably equally willed by God to the bullet missing Trump. Both of those things, I think, are equally ordained. Because if it weren't for X, if we were still living in the complete, leftist censorship, online straitjacket tyranny that they would be pushing if they still controlled the algorithm, then everything would look like this. Everything would look like this right here. Every day, as more people realize that the left is completely evil, they become more desperate in their totalitarianism because they do the thing that I mentioned earlier, which is doubling down on the dehumanization of anyone who disagrees with them. So let's look at some of the headlines. Yeah, so in the interview, Trump says that Kamala Harris is not actually African American and she's Indian, which is objectively true, which is so funny that it's verifiably true with minimal research, and then the left gets enraged at this. But like everything, when there's free speech, this is backfired. Their outrage is just completely backfired on them. Now everyone is pointing out the fact that Kamala is actually Indian, but the left is saying that to say she's Indian is somehow graceless oppression and bigotry. So okay, yeah, so that's pretty funny. Look at this. Trump is a racist. He said that she's Indian. Yeah, this person makes a great point. Would Kamala ever go to an extremely right-wing center and take questions? No, because she's a coward, because she's incompetent. But Trump, as an alpha masculine billionaire, will go into the hornet's den, take questions from people who are essentially lobotomized by ideology and still dominate them, because that's just who he is. And there's always the single ladies that are desperately trying to be on Twitter like, oh, but this looked bad for him. This was really bad. He looked so bad when he did this. Meanwhile, 95% of people are just saying this is a complete W.
And I'm fine.
Or would you?
Oh, absolutely.
And who would make,
I think I'd know.
How would you make that decision?
I think I'd know. Look, if I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely as this woman treated me.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm fine with it because she was very rude, sir. Very rude. That wasn't a question. She didn't ask me a question. She gave a statement. That wasn't a question.
Basically, all of the leftist positions that are calling Trump racist as a result of this are just saying he's racist because he's white and disagreeing with radical leftists who are black. So you can see that it is actually the left that is racist because their analysis is skin deep, if you could even call it analysis. Their perception is literally skin deep. Trump, white man, saying things, automatically bad. Black women saying things, automatically good. That's all that they care about. They don't listen to the quality of ideas. They don't vet ideas for intrinsic merit. Because merit to Marxist ideology is oppression. I predicted that we're going to see the divergence from reality maximized before November. And the left is saying that this went badly for Trump is just another example of that. By the way, if you ask why does it maximize, why does it propel? Because as they're wrong, as they say this went badly for Trump when it actually went great for him, they're doubling down on their incorrectness. And this goes for all of culture. This goes for what's been happening over the last decade, literally. They've been so wrong on every single topic as they encroach on sanity and objective reality with their identitarian intersectionalist victimhood cult that it's like upping the ante. They're going to have to pay the bill at some point. The bill is going to be brutal accountability and their ideology disintegrating as they realize their brains have been constructed, or I should say reconstructed, in the image of utter rejection for sanity, quite technically speaking. But as they up the ante, they have to automatically become more disconnected from reality in order to say, no, that actually went bad for Trump, or no, women can actually become pregnant, or no, Kamala Harris is actually competent, or the propaganda that we produce of black women twerking for Kamala is equivalent to Trump getting shot at. As they take each one of these steps, they become more delusional and insane. So that's the reason why they become more and more radical. This is the reason why the left technically becomes more and more radical over time. And it's how you get to a place where you have purple-haired 18-year-olds trying to cut off their you-know-what because the patriarchy is holding them back while they're at Yale. That's how you get there. Anyway, be sure to subscribe to the channel. This was extremely interesting and funny. Always great to see the left taking L's like this. See you guys in the next video.